Hey, today we're going to cover how to record customer payments with QuickBooks Online. So, I'm Bryce and welcome to the Virtual Accounting Strategies YouTube channel. Now, in this channel, we teach you all there is to know about accounting and bookkeeping. And we're also building out the ultimate free course for learning QuickBooks and bookkeeping, okay? So, make sure to subscribe so you can be alerted when that comes out. So, we make this channel in the free course because I had to learn all these things the hard way when I first got started with my bookkeeping business back in 2015. Now, if I had a resource like this, would not have taken me 14 months to get to 15K a month in sales for that business. I could have done it in about half the time. So since it took a little while for me because I had to basically learn the bookkeeping, then I also had to learn QuickBooks, and I had to learn all different myriads of different skills that kind of came along with starting a business, like marketing, sales, and how to price out my services. And really, in the first year, we started working with a variety of different clients. We started working with real estate investors, we started working with physicians, e-commerce companies, etc. And it's been a really rewarding journey to kind of help our clients know their financial status and really make sure they can save as much money on taxes as possible. So it took me only about, excuse me. So once we started hitting that higher stride, people started taking notice and they started asking us to teach them how to do accounting, bookkeeping, and really start a bookkeeping business from scratch. So in about 2019, we started our mentorship program. Basically walks people through A to Z how to start a bookkeeping and accounting business from scratch to make sure that you can go and reach your financial goals. If that's something that you're interested in learning a little bit more about, I recommend you click the link inside the description, either above or below the video, to book a call with myself to see if we can help you inside of our mentorship program. So jumping inside of the screen share. So in one of our previous videos, now that you started creating your first invoice, the customer is going to mail you a payment at some point. Now, it doesn't matter how the customer paid you, you're going to record the payment the exact same way. So we're going to go in and tell QuickBooks how much the customer paid, the date they paid, and all the pertinent information. And when we're done, we'll see that the invoice will show as it is, as being paid, if they've paid the full amount. Now, if they haven't, it'll show the balance that's due, or if it's an overpayment, it will show that as well. So let me show you how to record a customer payment. Now, before we receive our first payment, I'd like to take you over to the reports section in QuickBooks. So just head over to your navigation bar, click on reports, and then reports from the sub menu. And this is all the reports that are in QuickBooks. Now, we're going to take some time in a later module and look through some of the different reports, but right now I'd like for you to head down to a section that says who owes you. Now, these are your accounts receivable reports. Now, if you head over to the second column, you'll see the second one is called the open invoices report, and you can just click to run that one. Now, these are all of the invoices that you sent out that have not yet been paid, even if the customer owes you just a penny. Now, if you remember, in the previous section, we actually created an invoice for the Freeman Sporting Goods, and we did one for 25 Twin Lake, and here it is right here. So that's in the previous section if you're watching a different video, right? So 175. Now, I want you to take notice that in any report, if you want to go to that particular transaction, you can see that this is a link, and you can just click anywhere and it actually opens up that invoice. Now, I wanted to show you this first because when we receive our payment, this invoice will actually disappear if it's paid in full, or you will see this invoice and the balance is owed right over here, not the 175 that originally was invoiced for. Now that you see that, let's head back over to our customers. So we'll go to sales and we'll go down to customers. Now let's go down and find our customer we're going to receive the payment for, and this is going to be Freeman Sporting Goods in this example, so 55 Twin Lake. You'll notice over in the action column that you can receive a payment. Now, this is the receive payment window, and the first thing you'll notice is it's pulled in my customer and my job. Now, I don't need to change that unless I happen to want to pick a different customer and job. Now, I can look for an invoice by number if I really wanted to, and I can click there, just type in the invoice number and hit find, and it will search it for me. The next thing is a payment date, so I'm going to say this was received on February the 28th. And here's the payment method. Now here's where you can pick the way that the customer actually paid you. Now, do they pay you with cash? Do they pay you with MasterCard, Visa, PayPal? If you happen to take other payment methods you'd like to add Venmo, Square, even Bitcoin, just come up here to add new, and all you have to do is type in that new payment and then just hit save. And from now on, the method will actually be on the list there. Now I'm just going to say this in case it was a check though, and I'll put the reference number. So that would be the check number. And just then you just notice like the money is going to go into an account called undeposited revenue. Now hold that for a moment. Okay, we'll come back to that. Now I want to finish the rest of this and explain this part to you. Now over here, it assumed that my customer paid me the entire balance they owe for all of their invoices. Now we know that's not always the case. So here I'm actually going to put in the amount the customer did pay me. So let's say that the customer paid me like $179. Now if you notice down at the bottom of these, like are all of the different invoices that are still open, even if the customer like owes me like as little as a penny. Now you'll notice what QuickBooks does is it assumes the customer is paying all of the first one, the rest of the money goes to the next one, and then the balance of the money goes down to the next one, one all the way down. Okay, so now that's not always how the customer has asked you to apply their payments. Let's say in this case, they're not paying the first one, they're paying $175 on the last one, and they're going to pay $4 on this one, and that's why it was $179. Right, so always make sure you have the correct invoices checked off and the correct amount over here that the customer is paying towards each of the invoices. A couple of other things to notice is when you look down at the bottom, there's going to be $179 worth of money that's applied, and there's no credit memos right now. But if you had one you hadn't issued for this customer, then you could apply that credit memo to one of those invoices, and that would actually be here. So if you want to clear the payment, you could, and that would let you start over like filling this form out. And then notice at the bottom that there's a place for a memo over on the left. There's also a place for any attachments if you wanted to add something here. And that's all you really need to do to receive payments. So it's a pretty easy process, but I do want to go back up to this right here where it says deposit to talk to you about like what your options are. So currently, if you receive payments, the money is going into this account called undeposited funds. I'm going to go ahead and save this real quick, and then I want to show you where undeposited funds is, and then we're going to come back in a second so I can show you where your other options are. Now if I close the receive payment window and head back to the chart of accounts, I'm going to go down here to the accounting chart of accounts, and you'll notice that if I go down, there's a list, and this list is called, the account is called undeposited funds. Currently there's 241.52, so 2,241.52 cents in that account. Now this is the money that sits that you've received, which you have not deposited into the bank yet. Now a good way to check on yourself if you know everything's been deposited is that this should be zero. So let's look at this for a second and see if we can figure out what money happens to be sitting right here. Notice you can click to view the register over on the right. And what you're going to notice is that right now it looks like there are 3 payments sitting in undeposited funds. Now one of them is like the one we just received, and none of these 3 are in the checkbook yet because they have not been deposited. Okay, so let's head back over to our payment that we just looked at. I'm going to go to sales and go back to customers, and let's go down and find our customer Freeman Sporting Goods at 55 Twin Lake, and I'm just going to click on that for a moment, and you will see here the payment that we just received. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on that just to open it back up, and here were your other choices. I could go ahead and put that money right in the checking account, and this will skip the next step that we're going to do, but let me tell you why you may or may not want to do this. So if the 179 is the only thing that's going to be in that deposit, then you can click checking, hit save, and close at the bottom, and you're basically done with the whole process. But if you think that you might receive another payment, possibly from another customer, and this one and the new payment are going to be together in the same deposit, that's when you want to pick undeposited funds. And this will make more sense once we go through and make the deposit over the next section. But I'm going to go ahead and click save and close the bottom here. And let's see if that invoice shows that it's been paid. Now when I go down the list and look at the invoice for 175, it does show that it's been paid in full. Now if there was 1 penny left, it would not say paid right here. That's how you receive a payment for a customer when you send out an invoice. Now the next step in the process will be to actually take the payment and make a deposit. Now why don't we head over to section 5 and I'll show you how to make deposits. Now if we're going to cut this video short, and if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and click down below to subscribe to get notified of similar videos in these different series and for when we publish our full QuickBooks course, okay? So if you want a little bit more, click inside the description below. And also, if you want to start your own accounting or bookkeeping business, but you want to build that confidence and have a proven roadmap towards reaching your goal, go ahead and click the link inside the description, either above or below the video, to book a call with myself to see if we can help you inside of our mentorship program. Okay, more information about that when you book the call. It'll take you to a page that has like all the different aspects of our programs and how we help you out, and we can walk you through. Okay, and if it's a good fit, we can talk about what the pricing is and making sure that we can move towards your goals together. If that's you, I will see you on the call. If you're not quite ready, that's a-okay too. I will see you inside of the next training video. Take it easy. Talk to you soon.